Welcome to the Anonymous Andrew podcast. Life and the choices we make. The choices other people make. Why we choose to ignore the red flags. Red flags like gaslighting, cheating, addiction, mental illness, and much more. What role do they play in relationships? Follow me each week as we discuss these topics with anonymous guests and experts to hopefully become better humans, resulting in better choices. Like I say, been there, still doing that. Now on to the show. Anonymous Andrew with you here with another show pre-note. The interview that you're about to hear is with Marisa Nicole, and I found Marisa Nicole in my venue that I've been finding my guests. Marisa has a very unique insight into life and how we should proceed with our daily life. I'm not even going to try to explain it. She does a much better job, but I like it, and it aligns with a lot of what I researched and some things that I've been trying to do myself. It's basically being present in the moment. So without further ado, I give you my interview with Marisa Nicole. Hello, everybody. Anonymous Andrew back with another episode. We're in the 30s. I've made it past 30 episodes. Tonight, we have Marisa Nicole. And Marisa Nicole helps people let go of the mind and to be present. Am I saying that right, Marisa?
Yes, that is perfect.
Okay, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Okay. I guess the first thing would be to ask you to tell us about yourself and how you got here and why you're here and how you can help.
Yeah, kind of like what you said on our little pre-record chat. Really, my whole life has been about finding out who am I, what am I doing, why am I doing this? I took this from a more strategic approach, studying psychology and philosophy in college, and I was always into kind of a little out there thinking, which was a lot of fun in philosophy. Just really, at least, questioning and thinking about things beyond just accepting this physical reality as what is and what only can be. And, I kind of started with more manifestation, diving into spirituality, diving into human design. And that was a big breakthrough for me. I'm not sure if you're familiar with human design, but it blends a lot of different Eastern and Western, like the I Ching and different astrology all together. And so it kind of gives you this energetic blueprint of yourself. But ultimately, I was so in the mind when I was studying it that right now I've taken a step back from that. It had so much detail, and it could go into so much detail of why you do this, and like to the minuscule detail. Oh, yes, that's me. It was so validating seeing so many things. But the most impactful thing I learned from that was about really taking a step back, having your mind take a step back. And it's through this analogy of the vehicle, the passenger, and the driver. So our mind believes that it's the driver, that it knows where we're going and how to get there, which is not true. The mind is the passenger in the back seat of a limo. So it's nowhere near the driver. It's nowhere near the front. It can't even see what's ahead. It's just looking out the side mirror, side windows, waving, observing. That's really what the mind is here for, simply observing. But we let the mind, build up all these stories thinking I should have done this, I should do this, all of these different scenarios of what could have been or what could be. But when we take a step back and we understand that our higher consciousness, God, the universe, I don't want it to sound like it's something outside of yourself, because it is you. There is nothing outside of you who's doing it. You are just unaware that it is you at a higher level, but you are orchestrating all of these things coming together, these coincidences, which are not coincidences, these things that seem chaotic. But if everything's chaotic, then is anything chaotic? I don't want to go too wooey off tangent, but it was so eye-opening once I got that on, like, the higher consciousness, higher understanding version versus just intellectually understanding that. And intellectually understanding that when my mind tries to make decisions and tries to control things, that it's actually just getting in the way of what my higher self has already set up, is like a whole nother game.
I believe that wholeheartedly. I have a little bit of a background in tarot card reading and astrology and Eastern philosophy when it comes to chakra. So and I'm also in a 12-step program where I have a higher power, and my higher power is the universe. Although I choose to call him God, it's not the God that we may have grown up with. So, all right. So I am a person, a male, who comes out of not just one relationship that I was just out of, but I've been coming out of many relationships over the past, I don't know, I was married young, divorced young, my kids are all growing up, yada, yada. And I just been out there looking for that right twin flame, and I'm failing and I'm not succeeding, or or either choosing the wrong people, or I'm doing something wrong in the relationships. I never like to point fingers. But here I am at this ripe age of 63, and I finally decided to stop. Let's stop chasing that dream because I'm not catching it. So, to your point of trying to be present, I am going to take a step back. I have literally taken a step back by starting this podcast and taking some time off from dating and not getting back into a relationship to find myself and to get a grip on reality. And now I'm going to throw it to you. So,
yeah. So what we desire, we continue to attract. So you said you were looking for your soulmate, your partner. So you're going to keep finding yourself in situations where you are still looking for that person, because it ties back again to being present. Full acceptance or full detachment, the same thing, just, maybe a little different connotation depending on your mindset of the present moment. And so if you're present with yourself and you are fully, like, detached from any of these notions society creates, like, I'm a 63-year-old man who should be doing this, I should have had this, I should be here, I should be there, I don't have this, and other people are judging me because this and that. And it's, other people are first off just a mirror for us to become aware of what we need to become aware of. So when you keep getting presented with the same situation, it's the universe, your higher self, giving you another opportunity to become actually aware of it versus intellectually aware of it. And then when you're aware of it, just accepting it. Like, you don't have to change anything or control anything. Because if you think about it, if you are the universe, if you are all that is, then good and bad aren't good and bad. It's just black and white, and black isn't better than white, and white isn't better than black. Everything just is. And so that neutrality is where we find peace and acceptance. And then where it releases the attachment that you have to this emotional response to whatever is coming up for you, for whether it's regret, guilt, or shame, things you should do. It releases that and then creates this space for new, better things to come in. But when we hold on to the past, hold on to different emotions, patterns, cycles, there's no space for anything else. So we're just keep replaying the same cycle, the same pattern until you can accept it. I can't remember the exact quote, but my higher consciousness is amazing because it gives me all of these great out there crazy quotes and all the random video games my husband plays and movies we watch that just hit me so hard. And I know they're not hitting everyone that way, but I'm like, oh, this is actually the truth. And one of those recently was a side conversation at the back in the background of a video game, but it was talking about enlightenment and the fact that enlightenment is like being free from patterns, but to be enlightened is being aware of the patterns. So first, you have to be fully accepting and aware of your cycles and your patterns. And then once you accept it and drop it, then you actually become enlightened. But if you're worried about them, overthinking them, trying to read tarot cards, trying to clean your chakras, trying to do any type of healing work, all of these different modalities, it's just a distraction from the mind, which can work for some people depending on your place where you're at. But ultimately, it's being present and being fully just everything's perfect right now. And when you can grasp that, and then you continue to build it up in these little moments, that's where you start seeing the change.
So I'm partially on my way to what you said. I'm self-aware. I have recognized the patterns that I've been repeating between a sponsor, 2 therapists, several support groups, and family members, and throw in a couple of other people in there. Everybody is giving me all this advice about stop, slow down, stop chasing women, stop chasing that relationship, find yourself, be alone. And most importantly, this cliche is that you can't love somebody else until you love yourself. All of these sayings and cliches and things that you're finding all over social media. And it's almost like opening up that cluttered closet and looking for that one thing that you know is in there, but you just can't find it. What would somebody like myself or anybody in the audience, where do we start? Do we take that step back and
it's just being present in the literal moment. So being completely aware. I'm aware. I'm sitting here crisscross applesauce on my chair, talking to you into the microphone. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to make for dinner or what I have to do tomorrow or what I did earlier. I'm fully 100% with you
present
in this conversation. And so you do that when you're folding your laundry. You do that when you're driving, like every moment. And you're like, oh yeah, of course I know I'm driving. But are you fully aware that you're driving? Do you have music blaring on to distract you? Are you thinking about this? Are you, all of these different things, but you just keep bringing yourself back to the present moment. And with the example of the cluttered closet, I'm sure this has happened to you, and it's kind of another cliche. And I found, all the simple sayings, all the cliches are true, but it's too simple. How could that be true? It's too easy. Yeah. It's stupid, but it's the moment you stop looking for it. That's when you find it. Right. And it's so that's the detachment from it. Like, I don't need to find this. So it's like you said, you can't love anyone else until you love yourself. because that's when you'll get into a relationship where the other person will be a mirror and you will get triggered and then they will get triggered and it's their
Right.
own crap they have to deal with. You don't have to worry about their crap. You just have to worry about yourself. And so it's not even about doing anything. Maybe you're having a conversation with a friend or a family member, maybe even at one of your meetings, or it's your therapist says something since you're not dating, but it triggers you and your body reacts. And it's not a bad thing because if your body's reacting, then that's what it's supposed to do. Everything is pre-planned. Like everything you're going through, you're supposed to go through. So you don't want to judge. Like that's where we keep creating these loops and these like karmic knots is we keep trying to change, trying to control, judging ourselves for, oops, I messed up. And not just simple as observing it. Just observe your body reacting to a trigger. Just observe yourself folding laundry. Again, this is something that sounds almost too simple to be true.
But
And
they teach that in meditation. I've in the last couple of years I've been studying meditation, and they teach you how to, as you probably are very aware, meditation is the simple act of breathing, right? In, out, in, out. But as you're doing that, thoughts are coming and going, and they call it noting, where if a thought comes in, you make a note of that, but then you let the thought go. Because if that thought comes in and starts to ruminate, there goes your meditation.
yeah, you don't want to follow it and go through like a
right
cycle.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have. So now I'm grasping your concept, and I really like it. But I'm not. I'm grasping it. I'm understanding what you're saying, but I'm finding myself. So I have said to myself, because I'm taking the advice of all of these, my support group, to stay single and just be, to heal and to grieve and to find myself and yada yada. And I've done that. I'm not looking for that next woman, and I'm not looking for that next relationship. I right now I'm a summer person, and the summer where I am, well, you're out in Arizona, but it's where it's always warm, I think. But in the East Coast here, we only get 3 months of the year where it's really nice, and those are my 3 favorite months. And I'm projecting that my summer is going to be not fulfilling because I don't have a woman, I don't have things to do, because the last 3 summers I spent with a woman on the beach, or we went out on vacations, or we went out traveling and did all these things. And now I don't have that person in my life. Am I approaching this all wrong? I should be just today, just live in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, we live in a world where you do need to like plan ahead. So if every summer you rent a cabin in February because they sell out in like 3 days,
right?
Like you make the reservation, but that doesn't mean that in the summer you'll be there. So like you can plan ahead, but you don't have to take it too seriously. In regards to thinking that it's not going to be fulfilling because you don't have someone else with you. Why are you not enough?
Yeah.
What are you missing that someone else can give you? Because if you feel like you're lacking in some department, then you won't feel whole and you'll just keep, maybe it won't be the same exact cycle, but you won't get the full fulfilling one relationship.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is that I've been doing the same thing over and over again, where I don't feel that I'm a whole person unless I have another partner. And the image that comes into my mind is that broken heart, and you put the 2 pieces together and you have a whole that's a nice piece of jewelry, but it's not reality. It's not. I should be enough for myself, and I live literally 6 blocks from the beach, and so I'm a bicyclist, so I'm gonna this weekend's Memorial Day weekend. I don't have I might have one person or two people I'm going to meet up with, but I can get on my bicycle in that morning and drive a bicycle down to the boardwalk and just spend the day bicycling and enjoying the day, being present, enjoying the ocean view, and maybe stopping at the shack. There's a bunch of food restaurants along the boardwalk. Is that what you're talking about? Just
Yeah, it's
be
just being present, and you never know what will come from it. Because if the universe, if your higher self is planning it all out and has the master plan, it knows that if you take a bike ride and then you go to this one shop and then you bump into an old friend, and then the old friend says, you know what? I met this woman the other week that, like, I think, like, instantly I just thought of you. I don't know, who knows, something like
yeah.
that. Or you can meet someone and then in 6 months it turns into something else. You never know. But if you keep thinking too much about the future and focusing on it and worrying and trying to control every little detail, that's when, like, the quote from Human Design comes into play again. Like, you get in the way. So you are getting in the way of your higher self. And I've had a great example of this in my own life. My lease is coming up on our apartment. We were like, are we going to buy? Are we going to rent? Where are we going to go? And I could tell I was so in my mind because I was trying to control everything. And, like, I was so stressed and worried. And then, what for? If I already have it planned, like, I know I'm going to end up exactly where I need to end up.
Hmm.
So why should I worry about what's to come? Like, I checked my options. I did this. I played into the reality a little bit, but I'm not taking it too seriously. It doesn't mean anything if I own a home or not. That's another thing, right? The society, like, oh, well, you should, the dream is to own a home and do this and build a family and all of these things. And it's letting go of just
All the
everything.
social pressure and all
Yeah.
the expectations. Oh, so many questions are coming to mind. I as I think I mentioned before, I have a higher power, and which is a combination of the universe and when I got into astronomy, and I've always been into astronomy. I follow ever since I was a little kid. I thought it was fascinating. We put a man on the moon, yada yada. So space and the universe, and I watch a lot of shows on that. It just blows my mind, the vastness of this universe, and that there's got to be something out there greater than ourselves. I have a sign in my bathroom because I'm an idiot sometimes, and I'm not being self-deprecating, but I will do what we're talking about, is try to plan ahead or try to say I should be doing this because peer pressure or social media pressure or somebody's telling me that I should be doing this. I should be in a relationship by now. I should have a wife and we should be in Florida, and I should be visiting, having the grandkid. Yeah, I could go on. The sign in my bathroom simply says, take the day off. I got this. I got this handled for you. I got your future plan for you. I just don't want, you don't know what it is yet. Something along those lines. And it just says, love God. And every morning, brushing my teeth and getting ready for work, I look at that sign and I say, okay, I'm gonna. And in the 12-step program, it's I think it's the third step. We turn our will over. We just say, take it away. Take my will away. Because left to my own devices, I'm a mess. So so is would I be a candidate for somebody that you would coach, that you, if I came to you, let's say 6 months ago after this breakup, I was just a mess. I would come to you and you could help me
Yeah.
not Yeah. Okay.
And I mean it really depends on everyone's stage. It seems like you are grasping some of the more quote out there concepts that I'm talking about. So you would be receptive
Yeah.
to this. I
You have
mean,
to be open to that. Yeah.
yeah, ultimately, if you don't believe in a god, if you don't believe there's aliens, if you don't believe in chakras, if you don't believe in parallel, whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever you're trying to get, then you're not gonna,
If you're closed-minded.
yeah, you won't be
Yeah.
able to get whatever quote healing or aspect from it. But yeah, and I mean, it again, just being present and being aware of the mind. Like my mind, I've experienced such duality in my life, and that is my mind was going nonstop.
Hmm.
And I learned that people think in two different ways, like full on sentences or more so picturesque. Like if I'm thinking of what I want to get at the grocery store, like a picture of a lime, a picture of chips, whatever. I hear my voice in my head speaking in complete sentences to me. Like I can
Yeah.
have a full on conversation
Yeah.
and it can never stop. And so, how I know, I don't want to say out of whack, out of alignment, but how I know I'm more in my mind than in the present is when my mind is loud, when it's able to keep the conversation going with itself. And so, meditating, just focusing on your breath, like it can be in the middle of a conversation with someone else. You
Mm.
just almost like recentering yourself. And that sign is a beautiful reminder because it's the truth. Like we think we have to take all of these actions, do all of these things. But again, we're called human beings. We're here to be, to experience. Someone created these rules that we have to work a 9 to 5 and,
Yeah.
be in a relationship and be straight and be Christian and be whatever, look a certain way, do a certain thing. But who said?
That's just
Who? It's
culture,
who?
society,
Yeah.
and yeah, yeah, I agree.
And if you have come to the point where I feel like you've had to have gone through enough, be enough self aware to where you're able to fully surrender and know that you will be fully taken care of and you don't have to play along with the rules,
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter if you work or if you don't work that day.
Mm.
You're good. It doesn't matter if, you send out 100 marketing emails or you don't. You're good.
Mm.
You will be taken care of. And maybe the method that you, I don't know, build your business is through advertising, but you planned that your business would grow through advertising. Like, and if you don't do advertising, your business can still grow. Like, if that makes sense, you
Yeah.
don't have to do a specific thing to achieve a result.
This may sound too simplistic, but it's almost like really just thinking outside the box, because the box is our current day society, our current day
Yeah.
culture, where we are bombarded by advertising and social media and the corporation pressure, and of course, I hate to say the word politics, and it's overwhelming. And if we can, um, I read an article in the Men's Health magazine this month that the man, or it actually was a woman who wrote the article. She turned off her cell phone for 1 month as a trial to see what would happen. So she didn't get any news. She didn't stay in touch with anybody through social media and all that. And it was just an interesting article about just cutting herself off from society. Um, just
Yeah, I haven't been on social media. I didn't delete my accounts. I deleted the apps on my phone though. So, I've logged on to
yeah,
the computer a couple times, but I'm not on there. I'm on some other apps now, a little more than I'd like, so I'm gonna delete those. But like how you said, meet up with friends, do all this. I'm like, I am not really into seeing people. Like the
yeah,
more I don't need to. Like, there's the people I love and that I care about. And when I get to see them, I get to see them. But I don't feel a pressure to fill up my space physically, energetically with anyone else. Because I feel, if anything, it's a distraction and they will be down here and either I will join them down there or they just disappear. And I've received some criticism for that example. But um, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be around people who
Don't get it.
yeah, because then I can fall back into my traps, into my patterns. I'm aware of what those are. Like right now, I think I'm going to tell one of my good friends I'm in her wedding and her bachelorette parties in Vegas. And I'm really not drinking anymore. If I do, it's one or two drinks. And I'm just like, this sounds like a recipe for disaster. Like,
Disaster.
I just know
Yep.
I'm going to fall back into old patterns, doing old things with my old friends. And I love you and I support you in your marriage. And I'll be there at
Your wedding.
other events. Yeah. But yeah, in Vegas, it doesn't sound
No.
like what's aligned for
It'll
me
be
right
a
now.
5-day.
And if I'm supposed to go, I'll show up last minute. But, like.
No, it'll be a 5-day uh, alcoholic drugs or whatever fest, and yeah, and just back to what you said about the cell phone and the apps. I do not have Facebook on my phone. I do not have Twitter on my phone. While I have these accounts, and like you, I don't check in with them often enough. But when I started this podcast, all of a sudden I realized, well, to market the podcast, you do need some of them, but I refuse to do them on my cell phone. I will do them through my desktop Mac that I'm using, and I only check it when in the morning, and I only check it when I come home at night. And if they need to, if my cell phone is really for emergencies now, if my kids need to reach me, or something happens to my grandkids, or my grandkids just want to call me, that's what it's for now. And not, I don't scroll and check my emails every 5 minutes or whatever it is. I'm trying to unplug from all of that, because that's just all of this clutter coming into our lives that is making it more confusing. So
Yeah. And I mean, again, if you don't get it, this could sound harsh, but like politics in the current situation of the world, it's background noise. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect me. Nothing can affect my well-being outside of myself. My mind is the only thing that can say the political climate here affects me.
interesting.
It does not.
Yeah.
And no one else. And it's interesting how lately, after doing all of this work and being present, the bigger concepts, abuse, like crazy, heavier stuff, I'm neutral. Yeah. I get why that person did what they did. They couldn't have done anything else, because they're a product of their environment and they're a product of their genetics. I get it. And they were supposed to do it. If they weren't, then they wouldn't have. But then someone cuts me off in traffic, and for a moment I'm right there reacting. Yep. And then I'm able to pull myself back. But it's the little moments. And so just a reminder that you might need to spend some extra time, which I did, like intentionality, focusing on certain situations and certain things that I would feel guilt or shame or just felt heavy. But each little moment is an opportunity to be fully aware. And when you're fully aware all day, then just things start happening. Like, that people would say are crazy or magical, or like, there's no way, or wow, what a coincidence. All of these things started working out for you once you blah, blah, blah. I mean,
I started to really cut out. There used to be a time when I would get up in the morning and I'd make my coffee, and I would watch the news. I would watch the weather, check the stock market, and then, of course, turn on any one of the cable news channels. And what do you see? You see another school shooting. You see another politician that got corrupt. You see whatever is all the news. This morning, I now in the mornings I get up and I check my emails for my podcast because I'm falling behind on my emails. But I did hear a glimpse as I was sitting out here. I was just listening for the weather, that all the debates are coming up now for the next presidential election. And I literally tuned out because they started naming off all the people who are running. And I was like, I don't want to know. I don't care. Just let me know when it's over. Just tell me who the next president is in 2 years. So I'm starting to cut out, because I also found that listening to all that crap in the morning or throughout the day can really distract you and depress you and bring you down. I mean, they've done studies on this that just shut it off, unplug, and be present.
Yeah, and that's a good reminder too. Like, I love meditation and I love that intentionality, having that time to do that. But then it's like you go out into the real world and then, they were mean to me. They were rude. They cut me off. They were doing this. I'm triggered.
Yeah.
But I just want to be at home meditating, not talking to anyone, because that's when I feel good. But it's the mastery of it is being able to feel warm and fuzzy inside while you're out interacting with other people. I almost describe it for myself like a grogginess. Like when you wake up from a nap, I don't know if you've ever had like that sweet taste in your mouth. When I am super just fully present, calm and peaceful, like I'm so calm, I'm groggy. And I have this warm, sweet taste in my mouth. And I'm just, doesn't matter if I'm out at a restaurant or if out at home.
It's a pleasant feeling.
It's the zen. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very good.
Yeah.
Wow. You gave us a lot to think about. And I am in a total agreement with you on everything you said. And I'm trying my best to not allow either outside influences in today, because I have enough in my mind. Just real quickly, you mentioned this meditation. There's one of my favorite authors, and I don't know if you're familiar with Michael Singer. He wrote The Untethered Soul, and it's all about that voice that we hear in the head. But he wrote 2 more books, and one of them is about him spending some time in the woods meditating. He goes out and rents a cabin somewhere in wherever in the mountains, and he spends like a year by himself just meditating every day. And it was fascinating. He journaled, and it was just a fascinating read. I just wish I could do that. So
yeah, but you could.
Oh, I could.
If you're supposed to, you will, but you don't have to.
No.
If you get in that present, like I'm telling you, you don't have to.
There's a balance. I can balance my work life and whatever else. And
it's the mind sees it as a balance, but from all that is, it's all just life. It's all experience. You don't have this block of, I'm at work and I'm making money here, and now I'm home and I'm relaxing, or it's a weekend day, so now I'm not making money, or I'm not productive right now if I'm doing this. Like, we think we have to do so much, and all of the pieces will come together if we stop interfering and stop doing all of these little actions, which we think we'll do, but we're actually built up and we're like, how come I cannot get this funnel to work? My email marketing, I'm behind on my emails. I need to respond to these people. What will they think if I wait too long to respond to them? And then that's when like the mind spiral comes, and then 5 minutes later, you're like, oh, wow.
Sometimes if I find 5 minutes on a weekend and I'm like, I should be doing something, and I'm looking around, I say, well, I did want to clean the bathroom today, and I did want to go out and do the lawn. And then I realized I don't have to. I could just I can take 10 minutes and sit on the couch, and my apartment set up like a little chakra and Zen atmosphere. It's very peaceful, a lot of candles and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes I could just sit there and for a half an hour, and it's peaceful, and I don't have to worry about cutting the grass. I don't have to worry about whether the bathroom has to be cleaned. I'll do that tomorrow, whatever. So
Yeah.
Marisa, this has been so I I I never know when I have guests on what I'm going to get, because as I said to you earlier, sometimes I just don't have time to really do a lot of research and write down questions. And once again, another fantastic conversation with somebody that I did not see coming. And I thank you so much. You are on social media. Is that where
Yeah.
people can find you? I mean, you'll
Yeah,
give me your information.
I'm at marisanicole.co
I have
on
that.
Instagram, on Facebook. My website is marisanicole.co. You can reach out through any of those mediums. Yeah, if it's on social media, who knows, when I check it, you will get a response when you're supposed to get a response.
There you go. See, good
You
answer.
know,
I like that.
patience. Uh, but yeah, I would love to connect. If you feel like you want to reach out, amazing. We can chat, see if you are ready, see why you think you're not ready, all of the things, and move on or not move on. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I love just being able to share with other people and be
Like
in the
that.
being connected and get that connectedness at the same Zen peaceful level.
I like that. And we need to talk again. I'll have you back again, because I can see there's so much we didn't get to, and I would love to dive more into this. This is the kind of lifestyle I think at my age I need. 60 years of mayhem. Just, I had some good times, and I brought some good people into the world, my children and my grandchildren, but there's so much in my life that I regret, and I'm, like you said, playing those tapes and regrets and should have and could have and would have, and I got to stop that. I got to start. Today is the first. This might be one of your. Today is the first day of the rest of my life. I got to start today and just go from there, and let the universe take control. Marisa, thank you so much for joining me. I will have you back. I'll put all the information in the show notes, and I wish you the best.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us. All I can say is, wow. A lot to think about there. And the concept of being present in the moment is something that I've known for a long time. I often talk about the book The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and this is what he talks about. It's a wonderful thought concept. It's just something that you have to put into practice. Folks, I am producing the show on my own. There is no money coming in. This is a free show as of now, and for the foreseeable future. All I ask of you is to give me a review. If the platform you're on, like Apple or Spotify, allows you to leave a rating, I think they do 5 stars. Give me as many stars as you think I deserve, and put a little blurb down there about what you liked about the show, or if there's things you don't like about the show. And I will take I will make one episode in the coming weeks, and I will read all the reviews. I have a few, so and they're all 5 stars at this point. But I will take an episode, so if you write a review, I will read it on my podcast. All right, folks. Until next time, ciao.